Come on in, everyone. Come on in because we are here for Ready to Love, and we are on episode 7, y'all. My name is Deborah, and we got to talk about it because this was the big takedown. This was the takedown. It looks like a lot of people been waiting for. And back in my day, they used to say, snitches get stitches. Loose lips sink ships. That's what they used to say. They used to say that snitches get stitches. And lordy. I mean, the little tea that Laron spilled today or on the episode about that Alexis was screenshotting stuff from the group text. Girl. Oh, she was screenshotting stuff from the group text. You out of here. You know, I was all with Alexis when all she was doing was trying to warn her man and trying to tell her man, listen, a lot of the ladies are taking offense at what you're saying. You need to tone it down. You need to clean it up. They're offended. I mean, I would do that anyway. If I heard rumors about my husband that he was being he was offending women, I absolutely would pull him aside and say, hey, listen, some of my girlfriends don't like the way you talking to them. Some of my girlfriends don't like the language you're using, whatever the case may be. I would absolutely tell them. So I understood when Alexis was warning Will. Now, did I agree with her on she should say specific names? No, I didn't agree with that. And at the time, we hadn't heard she said that. But now that we know, old girl was screenshotting group text and giving it to Will. Well, obviously she didn't just give it to Will. She must have given it to, or Will must have then shared it with a lot of the men. Because this was the part that I was a little bit confused on. When the show first came on, and Laron was like, okay, we got to get the snake. We got to get the two-headed snake. And everybody, even Chaz was talking about on the when they first came in, we got rid of some of the troublemakers. Now we need to get rid of the rest. So we knew they thought that Will was a troublemaker. I don't think they thought Jonathan was a troublemaker, but I think they thought Will was a troublemaker. And actually, I believe they believed that Koshia was a troublemaker. I know Laron doesn't think so, but I believe they think Koshia is a troublemaker too. Because now that I hear what Laron said, first he was saying Alexis got Koshia voted off with Will. And I kept thinking, well, how could Will have the power by he himself to get Koshia off? The other men would have also wanted to get Koshia off. So at first I was like, I don't know. I'm going to call him Laron. You see me fishing for the words? Because I know his name is Laron, but I want to call him Laron, and I'm going to get to why I want to call him Laron. But anyway, Laron kept saying they kicked Koshia off. You know, he's gunning for him because, you know, we know that Laron fell into deep like for Koshia. We saw that on the exit interview with Little Black Book Kojo. He fell into deep like with Koshia. So he's here to revenge his woman's name. And I'm good with it. Just like I was good with Alexis taking up for her man at the time, which was Will. That's fine. She was trying to help him out. I'm okay with Laron deciding you got my girl kicked off, the one girl I really like, the one when I've been talking to on the phone every single night, going out with every single night. Like I said, my opinion is that they even might have had more deeply intimate relations. You got her kicked off the show, so I'm coming for you. I'm okay with it, Laron. I'm okay with it. And now that you've given this little bit of information about, now that you've given this additional bit of information that she was screenshotting text messages, light her up. I'm good for it. I'm real good for it, Laron. But what I realized was that whatever screenshot, this is what I'm thinking, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, whatever screenshot that Alexis took, Koshia wasn't just talking about Will. Koshia must have been talking about a lot of the men. That's what I'm believing. And that was how all the men voted Koshia off. So Laron got this part wrong. He thinks it's just Will that got Koshia off. But I think what happened was Alexis, the original snitch, took the screenshots. She then gave the screenshots to Will. And Will then gave the screenshots to the fellas. That's what I think. And so the fellas were okay with Koshia going home because their names was in that mess Koshia was talking about. Now we know it all started with the original snitch, which is Alexis, the mole, the snitch, whatever you want to call her. She was the original. She started it all. She said when she left that she 1000% believes she got kicked off the show because of Will. No, girlfriend. You didn't get kicked off the show because of Will. Yeah, Will shared the text you shared to him, but you got kicked off the show because of you. Alexis, I'm going to need you to take some responsibility. I'm going to need you to take some responsibility. I know I did this video last week about dating styles. Alexis versus Rashina. And we see Rashina did pretty good this week. But I'm going to still stick with my notion about this. Out the gate, first impressions, I still give it to Alexis. But what I like about this episode was that we were able to answer some of those questions that you guys were asking me down in the comments. When I did the video and you said, well, I don't know how you could say Alexis has a better dating style than Rashina because here they are both here on this show and they're both in the same situation. I said, you're right. I said, I have no idea what goes on after first impressions with Alexis. I don't know what goes on. Obviously, everybody's here. Obviously, there's layers to this. Where is my girl from last season who talked about the levels? The levels. Where is she? I don't forgot her name already. Beautiful girl. But anyway, I'm going to bring back one of her sayings. There's levels to dating. There are levels to dating. The first level of dating is attraction. Attracting the man unto you. That's the first level of dating. Because if you can't attract a man, you can't even get to any parts of your personality, who you are. You can't get to none other levels. It's attraction. It's getting offers. Once it's getting offers, then you become a boyfriend. A girlfriend. After you become a girlfriend, you become a fiance. After you become a fiance, you become a wife. After you become a wife, you got to learn how to be able to maintain a marriage. Otherwise, you're in divorce. There's levels. There's levels. I did not ever say that Alexis had everything down, but the first level, which is initial conversation, initial first impressions, I still got to give it to Alexis. Her game was still on point. Her problem was after that initial encounter, she goes downhill. She goes down here. So now you actually see where Alexis's problems are. Alexis is a ball buster. I mentioned this earlier. I said, not everyone, not just the women need to be afraid of Alexis and her competitiveness. Even men would need to be afraid of Alexis. And I mentioned that in an earlier video. And this episode really highlighted how Alexis, I believe she is a ball buster. She's a real ball buster. And not many men are going to be able to withstand that energy that Alexis brings when she's ready to bust some balls. Because you know who couldn't withstand it either? Laron, which me getting to calling him Lauren. Laron sat on here in the beginning of the show. Ooh, yeah, let's get ready to get rid of the next troublemaker, the next snake. He talked a real big game. The one thing I'm learning about Laron is Laron talks a big game, but he can't back up nothing. Just like he sat on here and told us he's in the club Wednesday through Sunday, and then wanted to tell us, no, let me correct that. It's actually Tuesday through Sunday. And then the minute somebody called him a party boy, he's backing up. He ain't standing on business. He's drawing down, talking about, no, I'm not really a party boy. Well, you just told us you was in the club or in the lounge, whatever you want to call it. It's drinks and music being played. Drinks are being poured. Music is being played. Scantily clad women are walking around. What difference does it make? You out, OWT, you out in the streets. So we're going to stick with what we say. And now he's backing down. And here he had this moment to stick his claws into Alexis, to really stick it to her. Give her a real good speech. Give her a real good kick in the butt. Give her some stitches, as they say. Because Laron told us he's from Jersey, a rough part of Jersey. He grew up tough. He had to do all these things. And when he gets his big moment, the men say, yeah, Laron, we gonna let you do the honor. We're going to let you stick that dagger into Alexis since she's the one that took down your girl. We're going to let you do it. And the Laron get to the elimination meeting with Alexis. And Alexis took it on the chin. She took it like a champ. And it was Laron over there got all teary-eyed. He got all teary-eyed. And Alexis said, don't cry. Alexis came over there and busted his balls and said, hey, don't cry. If they're going to send you to do a job, Laron. Do a job and don't be doing it with no tears. Laron, go figure out who you are. Because this misrepresentation that you a bad boy from New Jersey and you like to hang out in the clubs, it ain't you. It ain't clue. You really need to be on Married at First Sight. You really need to be on Love at First Sight, maybe even Love is Blind. Because you a softie, Laron/Lauren. You're a softie. And ain't nothing wrong with it. Nothing really is wrong with it, Laron. The problem is you misrepresent yourself. And so Alexis came to this meeting because she knew that she might have to stand on business. She was ready to go at it. But once she realized who was sitting in front of her, she was like, shoot, I didn't even need to get up for this. I don't need to even get up for this. She says, I thought I was going to have to come in here and clear some stuff up. Alexis was ready to do it. And let me tell you something about Alexis. Another reason why I know Alexis is a ball buster is when she keeps saying this same line over and over. What is the line she said over and over? I don't like to start nothing. I wish I really knew what the right words were. It was something like, I'm not the type of person that starts anything, but I'm not going to let nobody run over me. I'm not going to be messy and start nothing. Basically, she's saying, I ain't going to start nothing, but I am going to finish it. She said, I may not start it, but I'm going to finish it. Actually, Alexis, you do start it. Because you started, when you screenshotted that stuff from the group text, you started it, Alexis. It ain't nothing about you finishing nothing. You started it. So once again, here we are. This whole season, we have been dealing with people who don't see themselves. They don't see themselves. And so Alexis is over here calling herself a person who ends it. And she's taken herself away from the fact that she did help start it too. And then she blamed Will for all her problems when she was the one that started the problems with Will. Good Lord. Is this part of the application process for Ready to Love? Besides the number one question being write your first name and last name, is the first question, are you unaware? Are you in denial about any part of your personality? Click yes or no. And after you click yes that you in denial, they don't look at nothing else. Nothing else, because that's really the only criteria to be on this show, at least this season, is that you got to be in denial of who you are. Because if you kind of know who you are and what's going on, you can't be on this show. It won't work. This is a bunch of people in denial, not knowing who they are. And Alexis, we're going to have to add you to that bucket that you sat on here, blame Will 1000% for all the trouble you in. And girl, oh girl, screenshotting Alexis, there's no coming back from that. There is no coming back from screenshotting group text messages to the very person that's mentioned in the group text. That's worse than even telling them. Good Lord. But this was Meet the Friends episode. This was the time to meet the friends. And the first friends we got to meet were those of William. William brought husband and wife team, Troy and Lysandra, to meet Mya. And Lysandra was like, yeah, because we know your picker is off. Obviously, we still have not heard the story of why William and his ex-wives, plural, didn't make it. And Lysandra is saying his picker is off. But one of the things that Lysandra brought up to Mya was, how will you deal with William's travel schedule? The fact that William is in the reserves and sometimes he's called up and has to be deployed a lot of the time, that he moves around a lot. And then they talked about, well, we didn't really talk about that. I don't know what these people be talking about. Mya and William say they talk all the time. I don't know why. I'm quite sure if William moves around a lot and the way that Lashandra brought it up, it must have been a problem in the previous marriages. So what Lashandra is saying is, we need to talk about this up front because it was a problem in your previous marriages, William. Not only you're traveling with the National Guard, you say you're a comedian. Do you go on the road as a comedian too? What happened? Did the women get lonely? Did the women cheat? Did the women feel like they were single mothers and they were lonely? I don't know. Did they just feel disconnected from you? Did you cheat when you were on the road? What happened? And this idea that you're not even going to talk about it means you're just doomed to repeat it again. So maybe Lashandra, he's just not got a bad picker. Maybe Will doesn't talk about the most important things and he just keeps repeating the same old mistakes over and over again. That's why before I would even date a person like William, who's been married 2 times, is I would have to be certainly sure that he's just not repeating the same mistakes over and over again. I would have to know why those marriages failed, and I would not accept the answer, oh, we just grew apart. Wouldn't accept it. You really need to know, because people who don't learn their lessons, they just keep repeating them. And I'm not saying that William is a bad person, but he still may not learn his lessons. He still may just keep making the same mistakes over and over again. And why you want to be the third wife with a third mistake? Nah, he'd have to give me more. And I was just surprised to hear that Mya didn't even know about his traveling schedule with the National Guard. I mean, isn't that a natural question to ask the person? If someone says, hey, I'm part of the National Guard, the National Reserve, part of a conversation will be, oh, really? How often do you go out on missions? How often do you have to, actually do work with the National Guard? Isn't that just a natural flow of a conversation? So the fact that Mya said, well, we haven't talked about it, tells me they ain't talking about nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. I'm still not believing that Mya is really interested in William. I still don't believe it. Unless there's something we don't know about that Mya is really looking for that William might have. Is it the benefits? Is it the health care? Isn't she independent? Does she have to pay for her own health care? What is it? I really do want to know. Because otherwise, right now, I'm not believing Mya. I'm not believing her one bit. Then they flipped over to Justin. I'm looking at my notes. They flipped over to Justin. And Justin chose Mieka and Rashina. So one of the things last week I was saying, like, who's going to choose Rashina? Who's going to choose Rashina? I was a little bit afraid for Rashina this week because I thought Rashina was getting put in the friend zone. And Justin called over Mieka and Rashina. But yet he was sitting next to Mieka with his arm around Mieka. So I don't know. Was I wrong or was I right? Is Rashina really viable to Justin, or is Rashina really over there as is Justin really just using Rashina for a vote, and really the only person that Justin might even like is Mieka? I'm starting to believe Justin might be just here for a good time too. I'm starting to believe he might just be here for a good time too. Because anybody who wants to get married or have kids, Mieka has made it pretty clear 15 times over that the likelihood of her pumping out a baby is 0.0001. And we got Laron, here we go, Laron, believing that if Mieka really liked a guy and fell in love with a guy, she might bust out one more baby, because Laron goes off of feelings and emotions. He's emotional. That's another thing Laron needs to admit to. He's emotional. And so what he's thinking is Mieka's a female and she's emotional. And if she met a guy and she fell in love, that she would pump out another baby. And I disagree. I don't think Mieka is emotional. I think Mieka is logical. Just like Mieka told Chaz when she was in the bottom, and Chaz says, some of the guys think, whatever, you're closed off, you got walls up, whatever. And Mieka said, I'm going to say it one more time, that if you're going to try to force me to build a connection with me and I don't like and I don't want, then I'm not going to do it. It's not going to happen. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. There it is. There it is. Chaz was trying to get Mieka to flip over to the other side, which is, hey, just show a little bit more emotion, just show a little bit more niceties, whatever else, so that the guys feel you're opening up. And Mieka says, I'm not catering to anyone else's emotions. I'm going to cater to what I want to do. And that is, I'm not going to try to build no connection with no guy I don't like. I'm not going to fake it till I make it. I'm not going to pretend. I'm not really going to even entertain them, period. I don't even really want to talk to them. So if Laron thinks that Mieka's going to get off of what she says, she's not going to get up off of it. That girl is solid. That's one thing you can say about Mieka. She's solid as a rock. She's saying, I'm not going to do it, period. But Laron over here, he operates in his feelings, so he's thinking, so is Mieka. But people better start seeing people for who they are and not who they want them to be. People better start seeing people for who they are and not who they want them to be. And sometimes you got to figure out who are the people who speak exactly what they're saying and who are the people that lie. See, Laron is used to not saying what you really believe because that's how he operates. He says stuff he doesn't really believe. He's a party boy, but he's not a party boy. He's tough from New Jersey, but he's a softie. He's really a softie, right? But Mieka, I believe Mieka is a straight shooter. So people like Mieka who are straight shooters, you need to believe them. You need to believe them. They show no signs that they say one thing and believe another or do another. They're straight shooters. That part Laron picked up on because what he said about Mieka was Mieka's the type of person that once you get her or you gather her heart, she'll be true to you. She'll be loyal to you. And what he's picking up on is she's authentic. She really is who she is. So you're not going to get a person who tells you one thing and then lies to you and goes around and does something else. No, Mieka's a straight shooter, and if it hurts your feelings, it hurts your feelings. That's too bad. But she gonna tell you what she thinks, and she gonna stand on it. Now, does that make her dogmatic? Yes, it can. In a lot of ways, it can. That's something else you would have to deal with. Can it make her rigid? Yes, it can. Yes, it can. And a lot of men are calling her with walls up. The walls are up because they want to penetrate those walls. They want to cajole her. They want to move her in a different direction. And she says, I ain't moving. I ain't doing nothing different. That's what she's saying. I'm not doing anything different. But Laron, because he's more emotional, he kind of moves differently. He moves with the wind, and he's got that, that Laron part of him. He thinks Mieka should be that way. Mieka ain't like that. Mieka is not like that. But Justin's friend Kendrick came up in there. I thought maybe for a minute Mieka might go for Kendrick. I thought some of them women might start looking at Kendrick, Justin's friends. But Justin's over here trying to figure out, he says, let me figure out what these women are going to be. Are they going to be girlfriends? Or are they going to be just friends with benefits? Justin, that's what Justin been running around doing. Justin been running around dating women with kids for friends with benefits. With friends with benefits. I don't think he sees either Mieka or Rashina as long-term. I think he looks at Mieka, and I think he looks at Mieka and says, Mieka, I could have maybe do something with Mieka. I think he's sexually attracted to Mieka, but I think Justin really does want kids. I think he's been lying all this time when he said he didn't want kids. I think he does. So for the time being, I think he looks at Mieka as a person I can have fun with her. Rashina, I think she's all the way in the friend zone. I know people don't think she is. I do. And the fact that Justin sat next to Mieka and put his arm around Mieka tells me he didn't care one bit about the optics in front of Rashina. You see, a man who really liked Rashina would be a little bit more conscientious of how he was sitting next to Mieka and the placement of his body, his arm, and everything. And I'm not saying that Justin was trying to hug up on Mieka, but the way that he casually placed his arm around Mieka, or even above the couch, it wasn't on her shoulder, but it was on the couch, to me told me he wasn't concerned about the optics of that with Rashina sitting way on the other side of the couch. Rashina's in the friend zone. Now, what Rashina's got going for her is she does make a good friend to all these men as an extra vote. But of all the men she went out on a date with, I know a lot of people like Rashina. The friends like Rashina. But something about the men, they're not looking at Rashina romantically. They're not. I don't know if it's she's older. I can't remember how old Rashina is. I don't know if it's that she's older or if she's got 2 kids. She did say she doesn't want any more children. So that does put her out of a lot of men, but it still should make her available to some men who don't want any more children. But I still believe Rashina is a nice lady. People like her. She doesn't start mess. She gets along with the women. She gets along with the men. But something tells me Rashina gets stuck in the friend zone, and I think this happens to her even in her regular life. I did a whole video on it. I'm really not moving off of that. I'm not moving off of, I think Rashina gets put in the friend zone a lot. Friends with benefits. Yeah, that's what I think happens to Rashina. And even Mieka said Justin calls her every single day. Every day. Rashina was surprised at that. Rashina was surprised. Mieka gets a phone call every day from Justin. Rashina was surprised when she went to the date with Alonzo and Patrice that Patrice had a handwritten cute note. Rashina's the third wheel. I just don't know how to say it. She's the third wheel. She's the wing lady. I don't know how else to say it. I know a lot of people don't want that to be true because I think we all like Rashina as a girlfriend, but Rashina's got a dating dilemma. She gets put in the friend zone. So my advice to Rashina still stands, regardless of how Alexis blew up, imploded. My advice to Rashina on first dates, first impressions, conversations on the first date, it still stands. I'm not changing it. I'm like Mieka. I'm like Mieka on this one, y'all. I ain't moving. Mieka said the reason, they asked him, Mieka, why you like Justin then? Mieka said because he wasn't thirsty. Mieka don't like no sappy man. I tell you that right now. Mieka need a man that can take her harsh words, because Mika's going to be dishing out some harsh words. Two people that can dish out harsh words, I'm going to tell you, it's going to be Alexis and it's Mieka's too. Mieka can dish out some heavy words. Mieka can't deal with no soft man with no emotional whatever, nothing, because she going to hurt his feelings. Mieka going to hurt his feelings, and so is Alexis in the end. In the end. See, Mieka draws the man in with that face and that figure. I'm talking about attraction. Mieka draws the man in, given that face and that body, because Mieka is very, very pretty. She's going to always attract a man. Alexis is going to attract a man because she's pretty too, and she has that charm. Mieka loses the man sooner than Alexis. I'm going to say that. Because the minute Mieka opens up her mouth, she's going to lose a lot of men. The minute Mieka opens up her mouth, she's going to lose a lot of men. Okay? Like I said, there's levels to dating. There's attraction and there's first impressions. Mieka is going to attract a lot of men. But after that, the first impression is going to go downhill because of the way she speaks and what she says when she opens up her mouth. Alexis is going to get a little bit more time. She's going to be able to attract them. And Alexis is going to get a second or a third date. She is. Alexis falls apart in the relationship. I think I kind of know where Alexis falls apart. Once she gets comfortable and she starts checking the man and busting his balls, the minute he makes a mistake on anything, he going to get his balls busted by Alexis. And that man going to have to run away with his tail stuck between his legs, because Alexis, I believe she's a ball buster in the relationship. I really do. You saw it when she was with Chaz. When she said, he is quite a bit older than me. Poor Chaz's ego was just down on the ground. Chaz was brimming ear to ear at first, and then Alexis basically called him an old man. And Chaz started saying, well, I don't care about that because I look good for my age. Chaz, 47 ain't the new 27. Forget about it. 47 ain't the new 27. I know you got a nice body, Chaz. You got arms. Mieka liked your arms. All the ladies like your arms. But you still 47. You are still 47 years old. If you got married, if you and Alexis hooked up and got married, you may not pump out no babies with Alexis until you about 50, 51, 52 years old, which means when your child graduates from high school, you're going to be 60 years old. You may feel young, but you still 47. Hey, you know what? Don't run from it. Don't run from it. Embrace it. He talking about he still look young and he still got a strong back. Chaz is a whole fool, y'all. What's Chaz doing here? What is Chaz doing here? But I knew right then and there when Alexis said that same thing again about I've never dated no old man like Chaz. And then when she said that line again, I may not start nothing, but I sure am going to finish it. Or I'm not going to let nobody run over me. Chaz was turned all the way off because Chaz ain't no fighter. Chaz is a lover. He ain't a fighter. Chaz ain't out here trying to fight, and he don't want no feisty woman. He don't want no feisty woman like Alexis. Alexis got way too much heat. Like Alexis said on that date, She said, I wanted him to kiss me, but I think that's a little bit too much for Chaz. He ain't ready for that. He ain't ready for that tiger that Alexis knows she got up there in her. Alexis is absolutely a tiger. You better put a big old collar on her, because otherwise she will run over a man. She will run over him. But Chaz brought some good friends, Ben and Ruben. He seems like he hangs around some good company. Chaz seems like he's got some really good friends. And so Ben and Ruben, they came with some good questions for the ladies. I thought they took their job seriously. I think they did a good job. And then Vanessa came through, and they immediately liked Vanessa, the way Chaz and Vanessa looked together. I think what they could see in Vanessa, that they look together. And just like Chaz said, they connect emotionally and they connect intellectually, and they have good sexual chemistry and energy. And it wasn't until Vanessa said, I don't know what she was really saying. So I don't want to say what she said, but it was something she was saying about people get too much in the marriage and they stop worrying about the relationship. So I was kind of wondering, does that mean Vanessa is saying she doesn't want to get married again? But later on, she started talking about when she was with Dominique, which we're going to talk about, surprise, surprise, that she would be interested in having more children. So I think Alexis is starting to pick up on the vibes of Chaz, that Chaz is for everybody. Chaz might be for more women than Vanessa is looking for him to be about. And I think Vanessa is saying, listen, I don't want to be part of your harem, Chaz. You over here googling eyeing Mieka, you googling eyeing Alexis, and then you over here with me too. Me too. I think Vanessa was low-key offended that Alexis was even there. Now, if Alexis didn't have so much tiger in her, so much tiger, and she didn't start talking about how old he was, I still believe Chaz would have gone for the younger Alexis, because she would have made him feel young. She would have made him feel young. I still don't think that Vanessa and Chaz are all that great of a fit. I hope other people are starting to see how Vanessa is a little bit more of a stick in the mud. She really is a stick in the mud. And it's quite interesting that when I did see her with Dominique, I actually started saying, of the two, to be honest with you, I could see Vanessa more with Dominique. At first, I never really saw them together because I didn't know if Vanessa wanted more children. I assumed she didn't want any more children. And I don't even remember if she had said that. But I thought, okay, Vanessa has had 2 children. She doesn't want any more. We know Dominique wants 2 to 10 children. But when she was on that date and she said she would be interested in more children, I thought, wow, okay, let me relook at this Dominique-Vanessa thing. And Dominique is kind of, I don't want to call him stuck in the mud all the way, but he kind of getting there. And so is Vanessa. At first, this thing with Vanessa, like I said, I thought Vanessa and Chaz were a little bit uppity. I thought they, fit well. Because I'm telling you right now, Vanessa is still a little bit, Vanessa's a little bit uppity. But it's okay. It's okay. You just got to pair her with the right person. You got to pair her with the right person. She obviously is a flight attendant in first class. Vanessa ain't no flight attendant in coach. Didn't they say Vanessa's a flight attendant? I know Vanessa ain't no flight attendant in coach or economy class. She either going to be in first class or the business class. That's it. She ain't dealing with no low lives down in economy and coach. You can forget about it. And I know she ain't no flight attendant on Spirit. Absolutely not. Vanessa ain't on Spirit Airlines. But, Dominique, I think, has a little bit of that, squareness to him, too. So the fact that she was open to having more children with Dominique. And even though Dominique's running around talking about he wants 2 to 10 kids, he ain't going to have no 2 to 10 kids. He can't afford no 10 kids. You are not, what's the man with all them children with Mariah Carey? Nick Cannon. You ain't Nick Cannon. Please don't be Nick Cannon. And I don't think he's trying to be Nick Cannon, fathering a bunch of kids, but it costs a lot of money to raise that many children. So maybe he ought to just settle on 2, and maybe Vanessa is saying, I'll do another 2 because she says she loves children. She said she'll do another 2. So to be honest with you, between Dominique and Chaz, I would say Vanessa needs to run on over to Dominique. That's what I would say. Maybe people think she looks better with Chaz because they both caramel complexion, and I don't know what they're thinking, but if you really dig deep into it, Chaz, I don't believe that Chaz wants a woman that already has two. I don't think Chaz wants to step in and be a stepdad. I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it. And then Alonzo's date, he had his friend India. And India came and met Patrice and Rashina. And like I said, Rashina was a third wheel. She was a third wheel. Especially when she saw that note come out the bosom of Patrice. And, the jokes don't land. Even the friend India said it. Alonzo's jokes don't land. So you got to be a woman who is willing to accept these lousy jokes, these jokes that don't land correctly. And he got these harebrained ideas to put all these jokes into a game to mess up more relationships. So you got jokes, you got questions that don't even work in your life, but you're deciding you're going to put them in a game and you're going to mess up other people's dating lives. Okay, Alonzo. Okay, Alonzo, but Patrice seems to like him. Patrice, I guess she likes the pursuit, as they say. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like it could last a long time. I don't see any longevity with Alonzo and Patrice. I see it like a good time, have a good time, but I don't see it lasting long. I don't. And Rashina said, she don't even see no serious side of Alonzo. And friend India said, when you get to know him longer, the more serious side will come out. The jokes and the silliness is probably just a cover up in the beginning because he feels uncomfortable. He's awkward, so he tells jokes that aren't funny, which makes it even worse. He really needs to get rid of that. If he's uncomfortable with women in the beginning and he's unsure in the beginning or he's nervous in the beginning, he's got to come up with something other than the jokes to calm himself down because the jokes run the women away. So if you're nervous and then what you go to are these lousy jokes, it's just making the situation worse, Alonzo. Alonzo, come up with something different. I think Alonzo is a good person, like I told y'all before, but the jokes, ugh. And when I talk about levels of dating, that's his problem. He's got a problem with attraction and first impressions. It's horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. But later on, after you get to know him, maybe he mellows out and he's a good guy. But the first impression is horrible. Horrible, Alonzo. Get a new first impression. Just like I'm telling the women, people always tell me I don't give the men advice. Well, here's some advice for Alonzo. Get a new first impression. Just like I told Rashina to get a new one, you get one too. I'm looking back at my notes and I wrote down in these notes that when Vanessa pulled up to Chaz's house, she pulled up in the driveway. I said, she been there before plenty of times. That told me something. When you go over to somebody's house and you pull in their driveway, that means you comfortable. Alexis parked on the street when she came. But Vanessa, when she came, she parked in the driveway and pulled up to the garage. I'm surprised she didn't have a garage door opener. She's been over there plenty of times, because I don't know who pulls in somebody's driveway when you just coming over one time. You taking a lot of liberties. Like I said, Vanessa said, I'm first class. I ain't in coach. I ain't even in business class. And I'm definitely not on no Spirit Airline. But I did not know Patrice had 3 children. I thought she only had 2 children, but she said she got 3 children. And you mean to tell me she want a 4th with Alonzo? Alonzo's gonna be, if she get with Alonzo's gonna be that boyfriend that comes to the house and plays with the kids and don't even talk to Patrice. Alonzo is gonna be over there playing Xbox with her kids. How old are Patrice's kids? She gonna have a 4th child. I'm looking at my notes when Alexis was asking, would Chaz be a disciplinarian if he has kids? Because Alexis is saying, because I'm gonna be busting some balls up in my house, especially if I got boys. She was like, am I going to have to be doing all the disciplining in the house, or would Chaz do some too, because I'm a balls buster? Woo! Alexis already setting up how she going to handle her boys in her house. I did write down in my notes how that was a nice touch that Patrice bought flowers for Rashandra and Troy to the house. She's like, if you're going to come to somebody's house, you need to bring some flowers. And I thought that was a really nice gesture that Patrice did. So I got to give her kudos for that. And Alexis, who was it who felt bad? Alexis felt bad because she realized, ooh, Patrice outdid me. Patrice outdid me coming to this house. I was surprised to see Alexis at William's house. Why did William bring Alexis and Patrice? William act like he got a connection with Alexis, Patrice, and Mya. Really, y'all? Are you believing this? You mean to tell me Alexis, Patrice, and Mya are all connections for William? These women are all over the board. What is William talking about? His friend was right. He got a bad picker. He got a bad picker because these three women, he had Alexis, Patrice, and Mya all in his top, and this is who he invited for friend dates. He does have a bad picker. Rashandra's right. But Dominique brought his friend Mike Glenn to meet Vanessa. And what do I have written here? It says, what's understood need not be explained. Was that Vanessa talking like that? I can't even remember. I wrote it down, but I didn't even know who even said it. What's understood need not be explained. Who was that? It's a smart comment. Maybe it was Alexis. Who knows? Because she liked to say smart. Because she liked to say smart shit. But she said it one more time. I'm not confrontational. Oh, here it is. I'm not confrontational, but I don't shy away from it. I'm not going to let you run over me. I mean, does Alexis need to get a t-shirt with it printed on the t-shirt and wear it to every date? Because she literally said that line at every single date. She must have known she was about to get eliminated. And this was like her last conversation. Like, you know how you got your last meal when you're about to get executed in the prison? She must have known that she was going to get eliminated once Will got eliminated last week. So she decided that on every single date, she was going to say the same thing to everybody. And her tagline was, I'm not going to start nothing. I'm not confrontational, but I'm also not going to run away from it. Can you imagine if Alexis and Will did get together? I don't know. That may not. Maybe before I was like, I really would have wanted to see Alexis and Will together to see how they would make it. They wouldn't have made it. Alexis too much of a balls buster. And Will, he wouldn't have been able to stand for it. He wouldn't have been able to stand for it. It would have been all in good in the beginning, but the minute Will did something Alexis didn't like, she gonna chop off them balls. I'm reading my notes. Patrice says she liked younger men. Maybe that's why she always had to drive to the house. Maybe they didn't have no cars. Did they even have a driver's license, Patrice? Were they old enough to have a driver's license? Because Patrice is over here talking about she liked younger men. No wonder she likes Alonzo. She liked that silliness. Maybe she likes that lightheartedness coming into her life, I guess. I don't know. But Dominique said he was fangirling, absolutely fangirling all over Vanessa. He said he went through her entire IG, liking all her pictures. He says she's fine as wine. She looks good, and that's the one he's going after. He finally realized that Mieka wasn't the one, because we were wondering why was Dominique still having conversations with Mieka. Maybe he was thinking he could convince Mieka to have some other children. But like we know, Mieka stands on business. And finally he said, well, let me get up off of Mieka, even though I like the way she looks. And he scurried on over there to Vanessa. Vanessa says, yep, I'm willing to pump out a couple of more children. But I don't know if Dominique heard her answer to Chaz in that she may or may not want to get remarried again. But I see Vanessa as a woman who, if she does want to have children, she would get remarried. I don't think she wants to have children and not be married to the man. So right now, Dominique and Vanessa, they probably look like the better match. I think Vanessa need to give Chaz up because Chaz playing games with Vanessa. Chaz is playing games with Vanessa. I hope she sees it. I think she'll see it. But she did tell Dominique, you better step up. You better step up and do a more heavier pursuit. Because at least Chaz may be playing games, but he's feeding her that sweet candy in her ears, making her feel special. And Dominique, he ain't doing none of that. None of that. Dominique is boring too. They really both boring. Dominique and Vanessa really probably are kind of boring people. They may need, that's what I'm saying. I think they may make a good couple. They may make a good couple because Dominique says he likes running numbers and I don't know what else. And he wants 2 to 10 kids, which means he wants to be at home most of the time. Vanessa got kids. Yeah, I'm going to go with Dominique and Vanessa. Of the choices, that's who I'm going to go with. Because Vanessa was flirting with her hard. She was like, I'm blinking hard. If you want to see me blink, she's like, she over here blinking and winking. She giving you the go-ahead, Dominique. She is giving you the go-ahead. Let's see if you make a move. Because all this season, Dominique ain't made a move really on too much of anybody. Nothing. What's his energy like? Where is the energy of Dominique? We do want to see something, Vanessa. I'm with you. Where is the pursuit? Where is something? We need to see something for Dominique. He can't be just sitting over there in the corner thinking everybody going to come after him. But he said he don't think Chaz and Vanessa going to work out. Neither do I. He probably knows something that we don't know. He probably already talked to Chaz and know who the real Chaz is. But we starting to see it too, Dominique. We are starting to see it. So I hope you don't be copying no group chat messages and giving it to Vanessa. Don't get kicked off, because like we said, stitches get stitches. Then we had Laron/Lauren had a date, brought Mya and Mieka over there with his friend King. I guess they went to college together. And Mya said, yeah, Laron is fun. You know, they found out they hung out at the same spot, that little bar they went to. Mya's like, this is my spot. Laron said, ooh, this is my spot too. Why is it they never seen each other? Because Laron said he out Tuesday through Sunday. Where are you, Mya? That you ain't seen Laron before. But Mieka's straight shooter. She said, you know what, Laron is fun and all, but he ain't. It ain't no romantic connection. She don't see no future with Mieka. But she said she here. If you want her to be here, I'll be here. But I ain't gonna put a special effort into it. And Mieka went in on him. She was like, you ain't never dated no woman with kids. Woo! Mieka went. See, this is why Mieka and Alexis, they don't get along. They bump heads. They go at it because they too much alike. They ball busters. Can you imagine these two out together any man in my audience? Can you imagine Mieka and Alexis out together? Imagine Mieka and Alexis standing at a table or at a bar or club together. Both women looking good, looking fine, looking delicious to you men. Y'all come over to the table, try to hit at either Alexis or Mieka, depending on what your style is, and they double team you with them ball busting questions. Woo, woo, woo. I tell you, that would be funny to watch. That would be funny to watch. Mieka said her son is wild. Mieka said out loud on a date that her son is wild. And she basically told Laron, you couldn't even handle my son. I told you, Mieka saw it in Laron too. Laron/Lauren, she's saying, my son is wild and you couldn't even handle him. And I think her son is the oldest, right? She said she had an older son, like 16 or 17. She had an older one and a younger one. I think maybe he's 16 or 17. And Laron said, well, I would just wrestle him. Mieka's like, nah, Laron/Lauren, you couldn't even handle my son, let alone handle me. She said, my son is wild. She said, I don't think you're ready to be dating no woman with no kids. You ain't got no experience. You ain't got a record of it, no resume from it. And she said, if you date me, you got to treat them 100% like they your kids too. Woo, Mieka laid it out. Mieka said, I'm looking for a daddy. I ain't looking just for a boyfriend. I ain't just looking for a husband. I'm looking for a daddy for these kids too. Mieka's kids may not be around as much as like maybe some of the other ladies' kids. I wonder if Mieka's fathers are around. Has she mentioned it? Laron said he ready to get married now, pronto. He said, when I get out the club on Sunday, that Monday, we can get married. That's what he told Mya. We can go do it right now, Mya. Let's go get married right now. I'm telling you, Laron, you need to match your first impression with who you really are. You showing us two different people. You showing us this one guy in the beginning, and women don't even like that person, and come to find out you're a completely different guy. Laron's a sweetheart. Laron is a tender-hearted man. He better start showing that up front in the beginning. I guess he thinks women don't like suckers, but you ain't covering up that well, Laron. They figure it out pretty soon. So now not only you're a sucker, you're a liar too. Laron, you need a new game plan. Another person, like you saw, you see y'all, you think I don't give men advice. Laron, get a new first impression, because your first impression is horrible. It really doesn't represent who you really are. There you go. See, more advice for the man. But that's it. I guess Laron got what he wanted. Everybody got what they wanted. It wasn't just Laron. The snake, the two-headed snake got taken out. They got rid of Will last week, and this week they got rid of Alexis. So Alexis, remember, loose lips sink ship, and snitches get stitches. Anyway, that's it, y'all. I will talk to you later. Bye.